Okay, welcome back to the next video in the series where we're talking about the banker strategy, and in this video we're going to talk about Fibonacci and Fibonacci retracement tool. You can see I've got the retracement tool already on this trade, which we'll go over in detail, but first I just want to talk about the levels. So when we're looking for a banker's candle, using the Fibonacci for another confirmation to add, you want as many confirmations as you possibly can, and this will help you a lot. Price will come back quite a bit to this 71 to 88. Ideally it'll come back to 71 to 78.6. Occasionally comes back to 88, but we need a bit of caution with that. So if I show you these figures actually in here, so I've got 1, I've got 0, 0.886, 0.71, 0.618, traditional fib retracement zone, 0.5 and 0.786. I've also got two minus ones in here in blue, which is minus 27.2 there, and minus 0.414, and I've also extended the lines here, which helps me look for potential other trades as well. So if we look at this trade a bit more in depth, so we've got the banker's candle here coming up, a long wick. Let's just take this retracement tool off a second. So you've got your long wick, which I like to see, which is coming above all of the other wicks. So if I mark out that traditionally as I mark it out with the zone, use a point of interest. Point of interest also, this center line is 50%, so I don't have to use a fib retracement tool to measure 50% of candles. Sometimes price does come back to 50%, as you can see here. So in this trade, you're looking for entry off the bottom of the candle, 50%, or ideally if the fib retracement tool 71 area or above comes into the this zone as well. Again, for an added confirmation. So once price starts to fall, as you can see, we've got breaker structure here. Now breaker structure for me, I'm happy with that. Price returns, as you can see, and if we add the fib retracement tool as we had previously, I use the control key to use the magnet. It's just a bit easy for me, just a little tip. And if we come down now to this candle here where price starts to come back, and as you can see it just falls shy of the 71. But if we look at this a little further with spread, if you add spread onto your entry, typically you'd have to look at each pair individually, and in MT4 or CTrader, which I use, it does tell you the broker spread, and you need to add that to this as well. Typically it's about 2 pips, and if I put the tool on there, I'm guessing that's around 1.8, 1.6. So potentially, if we took it off the 71, it wouldn't have got us into the trade. But if you'd have added spread, then, or if you'd have been watching it, I'd have taken the trade as a market execution. So if we're putting on short position, looking at our risk to reward. So if I took it off there, and if I take it either to the top of the candle, depending on, we've talked about this in previous videos, but either the top of the candle wick or the body. And again, as I've said in I mentioned in previous videos and previous lives that I use the two minus figures, 27.2, 41.4 for potential take profits, or looking over here for equal lows, and as you can see there's one there, so that would match for me. Or I'd take my normal 5%, because you don't need to be really greedy. You can just take the 5% or 5 to 1 to 5 ratio, of 34 pips with a 6 nearly 7 pip stop loss. Obviously, potentially, if you stayed in the trade, then you'd have a nearly 11 to 1 to 11 trade. Obviously, if you didn't take partials, you'd have the 1 to 11, but obviously taking partial would reduce your risk to reward. So potentially that's a first trade on this. If we clean this up a little bit now. So if this breaker structure wasn't, if you weren't happy with that, we could have potentially gone down to this extreme here where price actually did turn around again. And if we're coming back up here, it's well above now the 71, and you could have taken the trade here either on the bottom of the candle, bottom of the banker's candle, or the 78.6 lines up with that as well. And if we come out a little bit more to see, again, you've got your take profits down here, which are again above these lows here. So even if you miss this trade, you're talking, I know it's a case of sitting on your hands, but from when you saw the banker's candle to the first trade is 18 hours before you potentially could have been in the trade. Again here, 1 day, 22 hours, but the trade that came back up into the banker's candle and the 78.6, you're sitting on your hands for 2 days, which is is what you have to do quite a lot of the time with banker strategy, because it takes time to set up. So if we look at the risk to reward on this, so if you take it off the bottom of the original banker's candle, either off the wick or off the top of the body of the original banker's candle over here, 13 pips. And if you're going down to the equal lows, 8.6, 1.1 to 8.6. But this, this trade really did fall. And if you've got the patience and you can sit on your hands long enough, you could have been down in this area somewhere, at 17.1 to 17.6. I'll do some more videos on the Fibonacci tool in continuing downtrends. Catch you in the next video.